I think it's just going to work. Okay. And it's 9:55. Okay, so we'll ask questions. Oh, I'm so excited for today. Like, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I was somebody had brought up that, oh, like, what's your take? Like, how come you can't hear? How come I can't remote view, or what's going on with this stuff? I can't see it. And I just get this is so interesting, Colin, because I'm not doing, like, I'm not in, I was raised Catholic, but I don't do any of that stuff. And I never read the Bible. While I know that there are some very powerful opportunities and verses in there, um, I also know that there's lies in there too, right? So it's very confusing. And so I stayed away from it. But I keep getting directed to the Bible, and this is so weird to me. And like, why are you directing me to the Bible? And you know what they said? All they said is, in terms of like what's happening, because there's the silence, right? They said the walls of Jericho will crumble. And I was like, the walls of Jericho. And I don't know that story. I know it was a battle, right? So it's like now I have to go back and read, because I'm like, what are you trying to tell me?
Yeah, it was a very important battle. But it's interesting to me that they were told to march around Jericho.
Uh-huh.
Not sure if they march clockwise or anti-clockwise because it doesn't say. But by marching in a circle, if you have many people marching in a circle, it creates a standing scalar wave,
Huh.
okay, which is a very powerful wave of energy. And the walls probably fell down because the scalar energy that they created through marching around Jericho probably caused the water within the walls to go up into the scalar wave, which made the walls crumble because they didn't have the water there to hold the cement or whatever that was that we're using in the walls and I looked this up some time ago, and Jericho, and I've actually been to Jericho. The Jericho wall was made of bricks,
Uh-huh.
and bricks are generally made of limestone and water
Hmm.
uh, and clay, and so if you remove the water from from the brick, and the limestone itself is an energy generator. That's why the pyramids at Giza are made of basically limestone, water, and clay, and then they had this outlay marble around it, and then a capstone, which
Wow.
is so it all is about energy. And this miracle of Jericho with the walls fell down was probably just humans using the energy that they have within their soul bodies to
Mm-hmm.
create a standing scalar wave, which means the wave pulls everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And water is a part of water is part of the etheric family.
Wow.
It's part of the plasma family, and so the water just gets sucked up into the sky, and it starts to causes the bricks to crumble.
Hmm. That's so crazy. I wouldn't have known that. Thank you for that. I'm just going to do some, I'm going to read the story if it's an important battle, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm trying to give people as much information about energy and how it works as I can. But for a lot of people, it's not believable. But
Right.
I've noticed on my Facebook page, there are so many more people who get in it. I used to get 10 or 20 comments on some of my posts. Now I'm getting 30, 50, 60 comments on my posts, which means, and they're all saying, yes, thank you, whatever, but they're all agreeing with what I'm saying.
Right.
And this itself is going to cause an energetic flow in the universe, and people may not understand this, but I understand it. And it's that energy that is created, the vortex of energy that is very powerful.
There you are. Are you ready to go live?
Yeah, okay.
Mhm. Beautiful. Oh, hello, everybody. Hi, Colin. Thank you so much for being here. You know what? I just realized that our entire pre-conversation was recorded. Maybe that's for a reason. I don't know. Should I go back and when we go and put this on, should I, uh, crop it and change it or keep it? I'm going to have to think on that one. We'll have to talk about that before I post it over on YouTube. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
being here. Um, wow, you guys, let's see. We have all kinds of really fun things going on in the mixer. Um, there has been a lot of shifts and changes. They're just going to keep continuing, right? There's a lot of squeezing, a lot of pushing, a lot of purging, but with that comes transformation, and with that comes new ideas. We've already talked about new frequencies that have been coming into planet and that are pulsating through the body. So there's lots of really exciting things going on. And Colin has been sitting with selves, higher selves, and always has really amazing messages to share. And one of the things that is very important and processing what's going on is a whole idea around this spiritual renewal, revival, right? And so we have Colin here this morning on my side, this evening on his side, and where everybody is on your own sides. Just I hope that everybody has some water, tea, coffee, something to get all nice and comfortable, because this is going to be a really great show. And I'm going to take notes because I know there's going to be spots that I want to go back and ask questions. And if you guys have questions, pop them in the feed and we'll do the best that we can to answer them. So with that, oh my gosh, Colin, more of the writings of Colin Joe right here live.
yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was just over a week ago. I was sitting on my bed and I wasn't really meditating, but I was just in thought, and I closed my eyes and I saw this vision of it looked like clouds in the sky, but it was more like flames in the sky. It was almost like the sky was on fire.
Mm.
And the colors that I saw of this fire were pale yellow, pale magenta, and pale turquoise. And this fire was burning around the earth. Uh, and my higher selves often give me these visions of, and then they want me to interpret what I saw and understand what I saw. So I gave it a lot of thought, but it just happened that at the same time, the very next day, in fact, um, on my YouTube feed, which is unusual that they do this, but in my YouTube feed, I've got a film, a movie about Charles Spurgeon. Now, Charles Spurgeon was one of my early teachers when I became a Christian when I was 19 years old, and I went out and bought his book on the sermons of Charles Spurgeon. And I learned a lot from him, and was a very remarkable person. But anyway, I watched the video, and then after watching that video, the next video came up, was Charles Wesley, or John Wesley. Sorry, his brother was Charles. But so I watched the story of John Wesley. And then sooner after that came the story of John Calvin,
Hmm.
and then John Wycliffe. And so I was getting all this information about these great men who had led great spiritual revivals on the planet. Like Martin Luther was another one that came in. And I thought, now, what is the universe trying to tell me? What are my higher selves trying to tell me? So I started to think about it, and I realized that the colors of the pale yellow, pale magenta, and pale turquoise are the colors of the 13th, 14th, and 15th chakras.
Mm-hmm.
And in the dimensional worlds, they are called the God worlds, and they reflect the energy of the Christ, the K-R-Y-S-T.
The Chris Kristalla. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I asked myself, are you trying to tell me that the Christos is coming back? Is this the return of the God world energies, the Christ energies to our planet?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt very strongly that this was the case. And combined with watching all those movies about, Charles Spurgeon, John Wesley, and John Calvin, and John Spurgeon, John Wycliffe, I realized that I was getting a message here that I had to give to everyone. And the message was this, that we have to we have to become the Christos again. Because the Christos doesn't come down into an empty vessel. It comes down into a live energy, okay? And so I felt that what I should speak about tonight is spiritual renewal. But having looked at those men whose videos I got, they were all Christians. And so I asked my higher self, is this a Christian renewal? And his reply was no, because the sun shines on the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, the Buddhists, whoever is, whatever religion, they are all the same. In the natural order of the universe, it doesn't matter what religion you belong to have this spiritual renewal. And they began to give me messages, like they would give me these thoughts coming into my head that goodness is not just a feeling that Christians have. Goodness is a feeling that belongs to all religions.
Mm.
So that energy of goodness, the energy of love, the energy of kindness, the energy of forgiveness goes across all religions. So in a sense, the spiritual renewal is pan religion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's across all religions. And the purpose of the renewal and revival of our energies is to raise our frequencies, to bring the Christos into our consciousness again, and to start living the Christos consciousness. And the Christos consciousness is not just particular to any religion. It's a universal energy that goes across all religions. So whether one is, a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, or whatever, the universe doesn't differentiate between beliefs, because beliefs are beliefs in optionality. So if you believe something, that may or may not be true. And people have to get this, that if you believe in God, it may or may not be true. If you believe in Jesus, it may or may not be true. If you believe in Muhammad, it may or may not be true. That's the nature of believing. So what the higher selves are telling me is that we have to move away from separation of religions, because the sun shines on the Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, the Buddhists, the Hindus, everybody. So it's a natural order that the spiritual revival is driving us to, so that we don't cling to our particular belief and say, my belief is the only one, and your belief is not, the true, because believing is optional. And in the universe, this is not the way things work. There is certainty in everything, and a certainty within certain, potential probabilities and possibilities. And so there is that uncertainty in the universe, but generally it's pretty certain what's going to happen. So my feeling is, at this time, we owe ourselves to break away from the closed mind that says what I believe in is the only true belief. And the spiritual revival will be, I believe in good, I will do good, I will see good, I will see good in others. And it's not a belief in a God, it's not a belief in a savior, it's a belief in the Christos that is within one, the Christos energy, the Christos mindset, the Christos consciousness, and to begin to display that in our, words and actions, and in our standards and values, and our attitudes towards one another. So that when someone comes along and says something offensive about you, you learn not to take offense, because what they're saying about you has more to do with them than it has to do with you. So we have to learn these spiritual values that don't allow us to be sucked into the games that people play here. That you're not okay, I'm okay. And we've got to get to a point where we say, I'm okay and you're okay. I allow you your beliefs. I allow you however you choose to express yourself, as long as we can agree that our values will be goodness and kindness and love and so on. So we change our mindsets about our beliefs, and we create this energy on the planet which goes beyond just simple believing. It goes into indwelling. Now, in the Christian religion, they talk about being indwelt by the Holy Spirit. Now, in the true sense of that biblical concept, that is what I'm talking about, is having the Holy Spirit, the Christos energy, the Christos mindset come into your mind, and allow that mindset to exist within you, and to display that, and be an example to others of what this Christos energy is. Now, I've been waiting a long time for the return of the Christ, because I knew it would happen in my lifetime, but I didn't know when. And having said that, I don't believe it's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or the next day, but I have a sense that is soon to be here. And, if people can allow this energy to come into them and change their minds about their attitudes, and change their minds about how they see and view the world, and to see the world through the eyes of God rather than through their own physical eyes, that's going to be very important. So in a sense, it's all about learning to be God to each other.
Yeah. Colin, first, I just want to say, I love you so much. This is, I had no idea what you were going to bring here. And I didn't know what you were going to talk about. And there are probably things that you and I, we don't talk a lot. I mean, I do see you in dream time. I assume you probably see me too. I know you teach me a lot there, and we get to work together. Um, so something you probably don't know about me, or maybe you do, but maybe our listeners don't, is my higher self. When I work with myself, I guess I'm called uh, a trifold flame holder. So I hold the pale yellow, the aquamarine, and the violet or the magenta. And so this is the frequencies. These are the frequencies that are um, that wake up in each of us, right? And there's this. So this is what I call the mother frequencies, the Rishi frequencies, however you say the Christ. There's oh, and so I know we were just chatting about how I've been called to the Bible, which is weird. Just like random phrases, these things, but there's something, and I don't know what it is, but I know I've heard it something about how um, the the Christ comes and we are not going to know when. And my comprehension and understanding is just like you're saying, that when we can see through the eyes of the Christ, we could be walking down the street and the Christ rises within you. It doesn't, it's not, you know, uh, it's not these other religious perspectives, like my religion says, Jesus is going to come. My religion says yours is wrong, this, that, and the other thing. It's about that rising within. And I find this so curious. And you talk about optics. In my class last weekend, we talked about the 12 tribes and the 12 cranial nerves and how these nerves are connected to the tribes. What's most curious is there are so many nerves that are connecting to our eyes. And it's not because there are physical eyes. And these nerves are so important to clear and connect and heal, because we can heal the ancestral traumas and our disconnect from the God worlds by understanding more about our bodies. And I know we've talked about this before. The fallen angelics know us better than we know us. So they know how to go in and control each one of these nerves. They know how to access technology that goes into all the different timelines that we're still living in simultaneously, and how to affect those and how it affects us in the physical. But
Yeah.
what I noticed is that Christ energy, that trifold flame, that overrides so much when you use it. You can use the flames individually for healing, but using them together, oh my, it is so delightful. It is so delightful.
Yeah.
I'm so excited we're talking about this.
In 2014, I was told that the fallen angelics off planet had been removed from the outside of the off Earth um, realms. You wouldn't believe how complex this is.
Yeah.
And then I was told that humanity was going to rid the Earth of the on-planetary fallen ones.
Mhm.
And uh, uh, and I was chatting to my higher self the other day. I said, "Well, how do we do that?" He said, "Love them to death."
And then love them some more in nausea, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we are far greater than they are. They are, in fact,
Mhm.
they have no power whatsoever.
Yeah.
The only power they have is the power that we give them.
Yeah.
So they've built a matrix system here to leak power to the fallen ones through disbelief, through divisiveness, through lies, through false information,
Mhm.
through a system of government and systems of law that keep mankind trapped
Yeah.
and giving their energy away to these fallen ones. So, and I've no doubt we're going to win this battle. because we are being helped by a, a very large dimensional, higher dimensional group of beings.
Mhm.
This, what they call the Christos alignment mission, has been ongoing for a long, long time. And, 550 million years ago, the Elohim and
Mhm.
were tasked with putting together this mission to rid this planet of the fallen angelics,
Yeah.
because they knew, because they understand times and timelines. They can travel forward and backward in time, so they know everything about everything.
Mhm.
And and timelines are not linear, in that there's not just one timeline. There are different timelines that exist all at the same time. You
And
get to,
timelines within timelines.
yeah. So you get timelines, 12 timelines of potential. For each of those timelines of potential, you have 12 timelines of probability, which makes 144 probability timelines. And then for each of those 144 probability timelines, there are 12 timelines for each probability. So that makes 144 times 12, which makes 1,728
Mhm.
different timelines.
Isn't that crazy?
And the way we navigate through these timelines, timelines of potential, are created by our thoughts, our emotions, our words, and actions.
Mhm.
So, what we do and say, and what we think and feel during the day, is affecting which timeline we're going to have our experience, conscious experience on. And each timeline, the probability timelines, are determined by the values and standards that people have. So if you have low values and low standards, you're going to experience low energy timelines.
Mhm.
And the timelines of possibility are determined by the attitudes that people have. So if you don't have right attitudes, you're going to have low frequency timelines.
Yeah.
So on Earth, we've been kept in the low frequency timelines on purpose. And this is purposely being done to make us feel helpless, hopeless, and inadequate, and guilty, and afraid, and all these low frequency energies that are bound in our present world. And we just have to escape that.
Yeah.
We have to be brave. We have to say, enough is enough. We're not putting up with this shit anymore. Excuse my language, but
It's so true. As you're speaking, it's reminding me of, like my mission. So many of us are getting our memories back, being able to talk to our higher selves. My family line goes into Elohim, Orifim, and Anuhazi. So I understand the incarnation and the seeding of humanity. Like, and these codes come back. I come with like lots and lots of the mother codes to bring the Christ here, right? And as you're
yeah,
talking, what they're saying to me is, it's like we were talking, you were talking about how the people, um like we become and connect into that Christos, um and that's what it basically is, what overrides this stuff. And what my higher self is saying is, it's like the rise of the Paladorians, right? And
yeah.
so, and I don't know these John Wesley, John Calvin, John Whitcliffe. I'm going to look at their stories. I find it also curious that they're all named John. I don't know why I find that so curious, but I want to say a couple of things. I just see some really beautiful messages in here. Alicia is saying there's light around the heads. She says they're auras. So both of you have white energy that you're channeling, and it's quite beautiful to see. Thank you so much, Alicia. She's saying we have beautiful energies. Um, and then let's see. Catherine Ellen is saying thank you so much for talking about this. She really needed it today. She's talking about mm, uh, when we are a spark of God, like we are a spark of God, she's having struggles with, and I think a lot of people have struggles with this, myself included, the real true story of Jesus. And that it's been hijacked by the dark ones. I know that even when people do channelings, which I don't recommend people channeling, um, they have Jesus. There are like three different Jesuses that come in and say, "I'm Jesus," right? And so anyway, thinking of Jesus on the cross, this is something I think you wrote about too, Colin. And I don't write about it because I literally am so confused about the process. When I think about Jesus on the cross, I think, well, that's a psyop, and they've completely like bastardized our Christ, our Jesus. Like he was a real person. I totally and completely know and believe that. But I
Yeah,
feel like they're ruining the truth about our salvation. And so
yeah,
I don't even know how to put it in words. I just get really like, oh, you guys.
yeah. Jesus was a very real person. His name wasn't Jesus, though; it was Yeshua. And
Yep.
he was a Rishi, a 12 strand DNA Rishi from the dimensions 9, 10, 10, 11, and 12. And he had a cousin who was called John the Baptist, who was an avatar, who came from the dimensions of 7, 8, and 9, dimensions 7, 8, and 9. So they were very advanced beings who came here. And Jesus was born, but he was not born to a virgin. Okay. The
Mhm.
Catholic Church used the same script that was prevailing at the time, which was the sun god energy, the sun god tales, or I think they call it the solar religion.
Mhm.
It has to do with the sun. In the northern hemisphere at the 23rd of December, the sun begins to turn back to the south,
Right.
and, that summer solstice. And then on the 25th of February, 25th of December, there would be a celebration, but the celebration would include a sacrifice
Yes.
of one of the daughters of one of the communities. And so they were sacrificed and they drank their blood. And so they used that script to script a new mass, if you
Mhm.
like. And that's what the Catholic Mass is really all about, is continuing this pagan worship of the sun gods, which was the religion of the pagans. So Christianity has very little to do with with Jesus, Yeshua. In fact, the reason why because he was never called the Christ in the Bible.
Never. And never called Jesus either, from
Yeah.
what I understand.
And the Christ was brought into this narrative to proclaim to the world that these pagan evil ones had defeated and sacrificed the Yeshua on the cross.
Mhm.
And so the Christ had been sacrificed, and that belittled the energy of the Christos, the 13, 14,
Right.
and 15 dimensional energies, so that people would be alienated from the real Christos, those energies of the 13th, 14th, and 15th dimensions, and they would be blocked. What's the word I'm trying to use? Not blocked, but separated from the higher dimensional energies.
Right.
But what I've been saying is those higher dimensional energies are coming back. So people have to get away from their Christ savior complexes.
Yes.
The
It's
Christ is within everybody. We are all the Christ.
yeah.
We all have the potential of the Christ. Okay. And the whole story of Jesus being sacrificed and put on a cross, that was all included in the Gospels by the Roman Catholic Church in order to fool everybody. in believing that Jesus died and he resurrected 3 days. They don't tell the real story that Jesus and John, both of them, John wasn't beheaded by, the princess at the time, or she caused him to be beheaded, they say. But that was all a ruse to downplay the energy and the power that Yeshua and John the Baptist actually had.
Right.
And so Yeshua had come to bring us the gospel. He'd come to, and John said, make way for the way of the Lord, because Yeshua was coming here to use his energetic powers to revive the ley lines on the planet,
Yeah.
and to anchor the Christos energy into the core of the earth. Now, people say, well, what are you talking about? But when you
we're saying Yeshua was a grid worker and he came with the team.
Yeah, and that was his mission. He completed his mission and he left. And he ascended via the pyramids of Giza. That's why they've held captive the pyramids of Giza. They won't let ordinary humans go into Giza, into the pyramids.
Right.
They're going to the tunnels and stuff, but they won't let them go into the chambers underneath, which are where the real energy exists, because people don't know this, but there's actually a massive lake under the pyramids of Giza, and there are caverns there. And, people can walk through those caverns and feel the Christos energy. Yeah. And that's been used by the fallen ones as a kind of sacrificial place, so that they can connect to the Christos energies and turn it against humanity. And so everything is all about energy and how energy works in the universe. And so the whole story of Christ is, of Jesus, is being distorted. And,
very distorted.
And the fact is that Jesus did actually exist. He was a very advanced, higher dimensional being, and he came to anchor the Christos energies on the planet. And now those same Christos energies are coming back.
And I'd like to add to this, if I may, that there have been many mission failures, right? Because the fallen ones have really pulled the wool over our eyes and really backed up our system, so backed up the ley lines but so what's happening right now, because the Christ is coming back, because we have potential for this, many of us who have been on these missions before are feeling a sense of dread, fear, giving up, while some on the other side are going way to the other side saying, I'm a savior, I can help you, I can fix you, right? This is the polarity imbalance that we have so much support, more support than you can even imagine on how to integrate this polarity imbalance, right? And like, we got to finish the job, people. Like, we get to finish this job. And it's like you were saying that, Colin, you were saying earlier, we're gonna win. And I'm just gonna go back because I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And in season 7, right at the end of the battle, she says, I finally just realized something. We're gonna win. And like that, and like, I know it's just a show, but like, that was about the power in women. So it was basically about the feminine aspect, warrior feminine aspect rising within each and every person that it could rise up in. And I still cry when I watch that, because I just go, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And we're moving, not we're with the trifold flame opening up to 13, 14, 15. We also, because the Rishi is completing, braiding in their consciousness, we have opened up a whole new harmonic. We've got 16, 17, 18. And I know I've briefly mentioned this before, but we can access that. That is going into the God worlds and beyond, right? Like that is moving up into those frequencies and energies. And so it's like we are going to win. Like we need t-shirts, like we're going to win. Where are my
Yeah.
t-shirt meme people? Put it on the list, please. We're going to win.
Yeah, I have a lot of information about that, which was given to me in 2014, which is I haven't really I've shared it as I've been told to share it, so I can't share all the stuff that I know about what's going on. But I can tell you with good authority that the cleanup operation of the fallen ones here is well advanced, because it's not just about the surface earth, it's about the underground earth and what's happening in the skies.
Yeah.
You know, and so the cleanup operation goes down to all levels of earth, and the people are hearing about the rescues of children in underground caverns and so on. You know, if one just does a bit of research, you can find it. But my higher self explained that cities are built one on top of the other. And when the old railway systems, underground railway systems, are closed down to make way for new ones, those tunnels underneath cities are used by the fallen ones to herd children into, and so they can torture them and use them for their purpose. Now, people say, well, why would they want to do that as well? It's because they believe their system, and it's true to some extent, that young blood is better than old blood, because young blood is more pure than the old blood, and so they've abused children not only for sexually, but also for their demonic sacrifices, because there's certain times of the year where they have to offer sacrifices to the fallen angelics. And these sacrifice rituals go a long, long way back. People say this, how long does it go? If you just go and look at Wickham, for instance, in the UK, which is also part of the system, the solar energies and the Mayans, that human sacrifices. There've been human sacrifices in many, many cultures. Abraham was going to sacrifice his son Isaac. So it's not confined to any particular geographic area or to any religion. It's across the planet.
Yeah.
And the fallen ones have given us this notion of having to sacrifice. So what we do is we have to sacrifice Christ on the cross every Sunday and drink his blood and, eat his body. And, that's how we're going to ascend or go further. Now, I'm afraid that's just a lie from the pit of hell.
It is a lie from the pit of hell. Thank you for saying that. It actually makes me really upset, because the one thing that I hear is we need to end blood sacrifice, period. And I'm like, why are you eating the body of Yeshua? Why are you eating the body of Christ and drinking his blood and claiming that some sacrifice is okay? No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Blood sacrifice has never been okay, and it's not going to be okay. And one of the things that they've done is tricked us. And so many people don't know this, but many people do. The satanic holidays that we celebrate are Christmas, Easter, Halloween. All the days we're sacrificing, all the days we're doing these things, right? We are giving our energies on their holidays.
Yeah.
Gross.
And
Like,
holiday means
gross.
holiday.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So like, I want to just make my own Christmas in, like, I don't know, June or something. Just change it up a little bit. The less you give, the better it's going to be. They're just, Uh,
Yeah.
if they can't get you to sacrifice something anymore, they're going to get you to sacrifice other things like your paychecks or, all these other things. They find a way to still usurp that energy.
Yeah, Christmas should be every day. It's
Yeah.
when we give gifts to each other, when we serve each other, when people often say, well, what can I do to raise my frequency? I say, well, bake some cakes and go take them to your neighbor, take them to your friends, do something, because faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
And that's what's required at this point in time in our history is people of faith to display their faith. Paul in the Bible said, show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. So it's by the actions of people believe, and the definition of faith in the Bible in Hebrews 11 is faith is a substance of things not seen. Faith is the substance of things not seen, the evidence of things not seen. I got it a bit wrong there, but that's the point. When we know through the eyes of our uh, pineal gland, when we know intuitively that this whole planet is wrong, there's something seriously wrong, and we need to revive the planet. And the way we do that is by exercising our faith and doing good. As Jesus said, if a man slaps you on one cheek, offer him the other cheek. We really have to change the consciousness of this planet, because you can't solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it in the first place.
Correct. Yeah. Um, I'd like to add, if you don't mind, people are going to say, well, if you just love everything and just love, and they can misunderstand that for spiritual bypassing. So there's a difference between being love and acting and seeing through the eyes of the Christ. And there's a difference. So there's a difference between that and being stuck in that false matrix, that false white light, that false love matrix. So where people are actually spiritually bypassing, meaning not doing their work, not showing up to clear fears, clear their own demons. We built demonic houses in our bodies, in our light bodies, right? The Christ energies cannot sit in a demonic house. They won't sit there. So you have
Yeah,
to tear down the structures. That means you have to clear your fear, your ego. You have to break down those structures to build new architecture where the spirits of Christ can live, right?
yeah, that's a very good point. It's like oil and water.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mix.
No.
So when the Christos energy comes down, it will not mix with the fallen angelic energies here.
Right.
So we have to learn to become the Christ to the world,
Yeah.
become the Christ to each other, become the Christos. We have to actually display that to the world. We have to show the world. And that is the way we're going to regenerate, revive, renew, and create a new world. We can't do it with the same consciousness that created the problem in the first place. We have to have a new consciousness.
Yes.
And when I was in among my higher selves, in another time-space continuum, I observed them and watched how they behaved and how they did things, um, uh, and I was amazed at the tranquility, the peace, the love that existed there, and understanding, and the respect that they showed me, because they knew where I was. They know who I am, and they knew where I came from. But that didn't stop them from being totally respectful about me, even though I was this dumb earthling who didn't know nothing. And they continued with me. They persisted in showing me love. And I asked them, I said, well, how do you guys operate? And they explained to me that if you are the love that you want to experience, then you will experience that love.
Yeah.
If you are the respect that you want to experience, then you will experience the respect. So
Mhm.
everything that you want, you have to become
Yeah.
in order to experience it. You know, that's how it works in the universe. So they are very kind and gentle and forgiving of each other when somebody is deemed to have broken the rules or the protocols. There is a discussion about it, and if
Mhm.
necessary, the elders will get involved. But generally, it will just be amongst the community, and then there'll be this repentance. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I won't do it again. And then everyone says it's over.
Yeah,
God,
yeah, exactly. There's and this, and I like to throw these things out there because these are the kinds of things I hear. Well, they'll say, well, so and so is the sweetest, kindest, most generous person ever, but they have all this negative that comes to them or whatever. And I'd like to just add to that, like, just because, and it was whatever you just said, Paul did, just or said, being kind and genuine and giving money to charities or helping in these things, but having an inner violence, they are the same thing. They won't, that's not in alignment. Your actions are not matching your trueness, right? So we could
yeah,
think someone is the most wonderful person on the planet. All we see is kindness, they express love. And these are the ones, I just want everybody to know possession is a normal thing. Okay. And you have to look closely because it's not always the crazy ones, even though they get possessed too. It's the ones that are going to church, these amazing like pillars of society that are doing kind things. And the silver tongued devils, right? Like these things that come out of people's mouths that you believe and you think are nice and beautiful and they're kind, but their inner self is houses of grossness, right? Of all of this stuff. And that's actually, you can't attract then the like, you can't attract the love because your trueness is mean. I don't
yeah,
know if I
because
said that right.
yeah, no, I understand perfectly what you said. You said it well. You know, you can't pretend to be good.
Hmm.
And, you know, goodness really is something that happens.
Yeah.
And if you look at somebody pretending to be good, they will be pretend to be good, but look at the expression on their face. Look at what they do after their act of kindness or goodness. It's all those secret things that they do behind the scenes that are are undermining their attempts to be good. So what I'm talking about is a day-to-day, moment-by-moment decision by people that from now on I'm going to be good, have good, see good, love everybody, be unoffended by people. I'm going to be charitable. I'm going to be generous. I'm going to be kind to people, and all those things will change the energy and prepare the way of the Lord,
Yeah.
prepare the way of the Christos. You know, that's what John the Baptist was. He went in and he was preaching, prepare ye the way of the Lord. Why was he doing that? Because he was a lower energy being than the Christos was. So he was there preparing the way. And that's in a sense what we have to do. We have to prepare the
Prepare
way.
the way. Yeah, prepare the way. And that, to me is break down the structures, the demonic houses, clear your consciousness, clear your fear, you know, all of that stuff, right? And then it also goes into when we do it in the now, we have a really unique time. We're in a really unique time right now to when we clear this vessel, right? It is automatically going out into other timelines and it's automatically going out to um, ancestral lineages and clearing past, present, and future, right? And same we don't get that same experience in other realities, right? This is
Yeah.
really unique to right now. It's really unique to us. And I when this is so funny, I don't know if you've experienced this, Colin, but or even in healing yourself, right? You have this crazy thing show up, and it's like, they're angry. It could look scary to you. It could look like an otherworldly being or whatever, and it could, but it's actually like another version of yourself going, "What the hell are you doing?" And it's like, "Hey, it's me. It's us. Like we're doing the integration thing. Like now's the time." So then you have to like work with it and
Yeah.
talk to
It's a
talk to other selves.
it's a continuous thing. You have to purge all the negative energies from you. You have to purge all the shadow bodies in your
Yeah.
body, soul body. You have to purge so many things, and the way to do it is to do it and not expect it to happen to you. It doesn't happen to you. You make it happen.
Yes.
And we need active warriors out there. We don't want warriors who are standing around waiting for the war to start. We want active warriors who are fighting their war every single day.
Yeah, I agree. Emily is saying, I keep thinking of being a small child and asking Jesus into my heart, and with the believing that if Christ lives there, evil cannot dwell there. Um,
Yeah, look, it's very true that, even in my own experience, I experienced the power of God, the power of the Christos when I became a Christian, because it doesn't matter which religion you belong in. The God sees your heart,
mhm.
and if your heart is loving and kind and gentle, you know. Soon after I became a Christian, I was in a little Christian group, and we had, six sort of leaders of this group, and then the group grew to 12 and 20, and then it grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually we had quite a large, Friday evening group, which is about 250 kids, and the kids would park all around the church, and it was crazy. And we just kept on doing this, and then we decided we were going to have an evangelical campaign, and so we talked among ourselves and said, well, what we want to do is get an American evangelist to come to South Africa to our little church, and we were going to run a little evangelical campaign for a week. So we wrote to various evangelists in the United States and got a few replies, and some didn't reply. But one evangelist said he was willing to come to South Africa, and he came, and he agreed to pay his airfare, and all we had to do was pay for his living costs while he was there. And so we did that, and the church that this group belonged to were very ungiving in terms of supporting this whole effort, because they were Anglican church, believing in they were not sure about this crazy notion. But as it turned out, all the other churches in the area heard about this, because we had a group of 250 kids who were passing pamphlets out, going to their student Christian groups and talking about it, and we're talking about that on playgrounds, and pretty soon other churches heard about this, and then they asked that could they be involved. So we then worked out a plan to get them all involved, and as it turned out, many people, churches across the, because our little church was in a little suburb of Johannesburg called Kensington, and this little campaign reached out and to places as far away as Springs and Krugersdorp, which is like 40 or 50 miles from each other. And this whole thing happened in a period of 5 weeks. And at the end of it, we had 334,000 people who'd handed in a card to say they wanted to be Christians, that they wanted to give their life to the Lord. And I was absolutely amazed because how this whole thing worked out, because all it started with was good intentions of this little group of people. And we prayed and we asked God to support the work. And we did all the things that were told to do and we believed in. And it just mushroomed. It grew so big that, for 5 weeks, we were 7 days a week busy.
Mhm. Amazing manifestors.
Yeah.
Humans are
And
amazing manifestors.
and I never really understood what happened, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. After the 5 weeks, I thought, what happened? I didn't understand it.
Wow. Um, Thank you for sharing that. That's an amazing story. I love it when communities come together like this, right?
Yeah,
It it's so powerful to see what happens when we connect our hearts and and we open up and make a choice, a collective choice, right? That's on a small scale, even it's on a big scale with having so many in the community, but on a really small scale, right?
yeah.
Um,
And it all came about because we loved each other
yeah.
totally. We were excited. We created the energy and supported one another, and were involved in each other's lives on a day-to-day basis. And this little group of people just kind of mushroomed out into an energy that I couldn't explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Cindy has a really great question. I'm sure lots of people wonder this. Why is time labeled BC and AD?
Well, it's AD means Anno Domini and BC is before Christ. It's just a label that was given because our whole calendar is run by the Catholic Church,
For the
the
cabal?
yeah, and by the cabal, generally, and they wanted to create this separation in time to create, because in a sense they control history. Our history has been hidden from us. A
Mm,
large portion of our history is a lie. It didn't happen the way they told us it happened. So they wanted to create this because their whole modus operandi is one of division, divisiveness. If you can divide people, divide their consciousness. So
yep,
if you create this AD and BC idea, people's minds will be divided. Did this happen AC or BC? It doesn't matter. People have
no,
got into this whole divisiveness of consciousness, like in religions.
yep.
All religions are basically the same.
They're all the same,
Yeah,
but they've taken it and I need to calm down because this gets me really upset. It is everything, everyone. Someone's a Republican or a Democrat. Someone's a Christian or a Jew. Somebody is black or they're white. And it's like all so AD and BC, right? It's all like to just rip apart the the innerness of, like, we never are going to integrate if we continue to be separate. Like
yeah,
our body here, our spirit needs to integrate. We need to integrate all of the pieces. And we are both, like, naturally we're androgynous, we're both male and female. You need to integrate those pieces to have to hold the Christ, to hold the Christos. You have
yeah,
to integrate those pieces. And so, the more things they can write about and put out to us, and the more of their satanic celebrations we give energy to, the longer it's going to take for us to come together in unity. And that's what we are, and that's what we need to create, unity. It's not going to
yeah,
happen overnight, but it's going to happen.
yeah. So all of us need to every day do good, be good, see the good in others, love one another, be care for each other, be generous, kind, gracious towards each other, forgiving of each other. All these wonderful values that we have, or we say we have, but we don't display them.
Yeah.
And the power of the energy is in how it's actually perpetrated and displayed. That's the important thing. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to do it. So
Yeah.
that's what people have to make a choice. You know, are we going to do it, or are we just going to wait for it to happen for us?
Hmm. That's a big piece to integrate for people, right?
Yeah, but that's a challenge. I love a challenge,
I
you
do
know.
too. I'm all about it. My motto is go big or go home, right? Go
Yeah,
big or go home. Like that's just all there is to it. And Troy says, united we stand, divided we fall. Um, oh, Cindy was born 22. I don't know what the 003 is, 22. I'm a 22. So that's a master number. Um, so master builder number. Amazing
yeah,
architects we are. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Gosh, beautiful, beautiful message on uh, like revival. Like that's not the right word, but um, reveal, apocalypse. Like I want something big for this trifold energies that you're seeing, and bringing this message out. Like this is apocalyptic, right? And apocalypse is to reveal, and this
yeah,
is about we are revealing the Christ. We are
yeah,
revealing the Christalla, right?
yeah,
And wow. And it's everyone's feeling it. That's that feeling everyone's getting. Like what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Something's coming, something's coming, right? And it's like, yes, it is. It is. And so clear the way, make the path, clear the path for the Lord is coming, right? That's
yeah,
basically what it is like. And I'm not a religious person. I don't say these things with religion tied to it. Like this is like that inner truth, that inner light that we all hold. And it is shining, right? We're like beacons, we're like lighthouses, or, acupuncture, like little needles for acupuncture points in the planet, right? Like we're just, now's the time to vibe high, right?
yeah. And the thing is, if we agree with it, this energy, and if we practice it, it
Yeah.
creates an energy. It creates like a wave of energy that flows out throughout the world. And a year from now, we'll be looking back on this program and say, "Do you remember we created that wave?"
Yep. Like a
Yeah,
little drop in the water, right?
yeah.
And it ripples out.
It only takes a spark to get a
It
fire
does.
going.
It does. It only takes a spark. I love that. Oh my goodness, we're at time. I think that I'll just double check time because yeah, we're at time. I'm happy to answer any questions if any last minute questions come in um, before Colin and I go. Thank you. I love it. Catherine says, "How great will that be?" Huzzah! I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you, everybody, so much for being here and listening to this message today. Thank you so much, Colin, um, for holding these flames. And one of the things that I have seen that that literally brings me to tears is the work that the men are doing. And we've talked about that before, but I'm just really tickled that men are really standing and. Uh, I don't know why I feel like they've just gotten the shitty end of the stick. So I just want to say thank you so much. And I love you and I honor you and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
we need that female energy because that is energy carries the male energy.
Yeah.
You know, without that female energy, the male energy collapses.
Yeah. It
So
does.
yeah,
Cancels each other out, doesn't it?
yeah. So you're doing all the work. We're not. We're just carrying the message. You carry the messenger.
Oh, well, it's a blessing. So thank you. Thank you everybody for being here today. We're just, yay, so much love to each of you.
Yeah. Let's see the fire go.
Let's see it go. You guys check out the writings of colinjoe.com. He's got new stuff coming in all the time. Currently, he's braiding in his um, higher self um, ideas and healing modalities, how to understand how to heal. And that's really so important right now. And it integrates all of the other work that he's done beautifully. So do check out the writings of Colin Joe. And we'll just see you guys on the other side.
Yeah, so if I can just speak briefly to the
Yes.
healing. I'm doing the mechanics of healing, and I've done a lot of classes on the physiology and anatomy of the body. But this next month, I'm going to start on the physiology and anatomy of the soul.
Ah, love it. I can't
Yeah,
wait. I haven't dived into the healing ones. We're doing them slowly together. So I'm just gonna take my time and go slowly with you. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's the way to do it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
there's no.
Awesome. I'll do a little shout out, you guys. I'm going to do a shielding course. I just have to get my videos recorded, but teaching people how to shield their body, which could goes out to the light body. So the different levels of shielding and all that good stuff. So that's going to be, look for that. I'm calling it wisdom teaching. So just look for that. And I'll see you guys all soon. Thank you, Colin.
It's been great chatting to you, and I think you've done a great job tonight.
Thank you. I think you have too.
Thank
All
you.
right. I'll see you soon.
Bye. Love you all.
Love you guys.